All set. So I'll call the meeting to order, the special meeting of council to order at 5:33 p.m. And just a note for anybody who is watching live stream, we apologize that we're having some technical difficulties and we may appear differently than we actually are. The recording will fix that tomorrow. Introduction of amendments to the agenda.
Through you, Mayor Lawrence, I have none.
Thank you. And a motion that the agenda for the special council meeting of April 4th, 2023 be approved as presented. Moved by Councillor Cassidy, seconded by Councillor Timpson. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Declarations of pecuniary interest.
Through you, Mayor Lawrence, I have none.
Thank you. Two items. First item, Sioux Forest Management Plan 2024-2034. I'll lift that if nobody else is. Thank you. And 4.2, Front Street and 3rd Avenue Upgrades Project Engineering Services and Construction Contract Award. Councillor Timpson, Councillor Costco. And first item, Sioux Forest Management Plan. The council authorizes Mayor Lawrence to submit a letter outlining council's concerns regarding the 2024-2034 Sioux Forest Management Plan tree harvesting in the community of Hudson. Discussion. Is there a report, CIO?
Yes, there's
I mean, sorry, is staff going to introduce this with the report, or are we going to go straight to discussion? Why don't you do a bit of a summary for the, and you can fill in some of the things that have happened since the last.
Sure. Through you, Mayor Lawrence, the 2024-2034 Forest Management Plan was sent to the municipality and other stakeholders regarding the Sioux Forest plan for the next 10 years. Part of that plan includes the cut over the next 10 years to be west of Hudson within the municipal boundaries of Sioux Lookout. When we were approached by Leslie Sterrett, requested a meeting of myself and the mayor to discuss her concerns over the cut in Hudson. In the community of Hudson, we also invited Bob Sterrett because he has extensive knowledge of the area and the forestry sector. So we met with them. They expressed their concerns to us, and thus we put together a letter for council to consider to submit to MNRF. The deadline is the 6th of April to get our submissions in. And so we're here before council tonight to discuss that, to determine if the letter is to be changed or stays as is, to submit to the ministry on behalf of the municipality and the residents of the community of Hudson.
Thanks, CEO. And just councillors Lego and Van Breda also joined us in that meeting. Not a quorum of council. We kept it below that threshold, and just for Councillor Lego's on the local citizens committee with the MNR, so we thought his input would be valuable, and Councillor Van Breda has a particular ongoing interest in Hudson. So, council discussion. Councillor Timpson.
I think it's worthwhile. I'm glad. I like the letter. I think it's worthwhile, however, to add the economic value of wilderness within the municipal boundaries to our economic development. In terms of, it's the wilderness that tends to attract a lot of people to be here. Same with Cedar Bay, and that's why we're looking at measures to protect that area as well. I think that what we are all about here is why we're able to attract people from out of town. One of the main reasons why we can. So I think that the economic value of this kind of environment is really important to put in the letter. That's it.
Thank you. Council, any further? Councillor Lego.
Just in regards to the letter, when it states furthermore, so 1, 2, 3, sort of the 4th paragraph, and then we sort of list a few of the items that were brought up. Do we want to be this specific, or we just want to let sort of the M&R try to figure out what to cut and what not to cut? Instead of saying we want to have buffers around these areas, to me, that sort of sends the message, well, you can cut everything else.
Good point. I'm wondering about changing it to say, maybe those could be noted as points that have been brought to us of particular interest are as follows. There will be more, and it will be up to the process to decide how to handle this, something along that nature. But I agree, when you get too specific, I think that's a fair point. So it would be to, and to Councillor Timpson's point, I don't think council has any objection if we add a sentence or two to that effect in there, and modify this so that we are more generic, but we might bring up some particular examples of what the public has brought to our attention. And there may be more, but these are the kind of things we'd like the M&R to look at. Councillor Van Breda?
Yeah, and then also it would be a good idea to get a more formal mapping of the walking trails in Hudson. I know that I got the name and contact information, but there are a few people in Hudson who will be willing to help us make a more formalized map of the walking trails and areas that are of concern that should be protected against any sort of future harvesting or any future development within Hudson, such as the area around Mud Lake, which is known to be like a wetland. So we need to have that knowledge of like which areas are an environmental protection. So that can also be noted going forward that we should be doing that as well.
So I'm sorry, what are you suggesting?
Just to, I suggest that we have a more like formalized map of the walking trails in within Hudson as well.
Okay, that would be separate from the letter. I think it would be. CAO, do you want to comment?
Through you, Mayor Lawrence, yes, we can include that as part of our letter in our submission to much like what Mr. Starrett has done with this map here regarding Johnny Luke's road. Although we don't have a lot of time, it has to be in by the 6th, so whomever you're talking to, perhaps, they can contact me and we can get that map put together to attach to the letter.
Councillor Cassidy.
I think, further to Councillor Lego's point, I think it's probably more, we should maybe be a little more prompt in the letter and just come out and say that we are opposed to such significant harvesting this close to the community. I think we kind of get there, but in a softer way. I think just stating that we are opposed to this, and we can fit that in when we can say our council is opposed to harvesting this close to the community of Hudson and believes that this plan will negatively impact the community interests. I think just making that statement that we are opposed to it will add a little more.
Is that it? We're opposed to all the cutting that's shown on this?
We're opposed to this much cutting, like this drastic of cutting this close to Hudson. I think that's the biggest thing. What I'm hoping this would do is it would encourage some more dialogue to occur and some other possible methods of harvest or some other things to consider.
From what I understand, it would be unlikely that we can, that there can be such influence that this plan would be taken off the map entirely. Right?
No, and I
right?
understand that, but
Yeah.
I think we should at least state the opposition, that we are opposed to this much happening, and I think that's why we're here and why we have a letter going in.
Yep. Just be a bit more firm in
A little more firm in our wording, and but still, outline why we are, which I think the letter does, and go forward that way.
CAO?
Through you, Mayor Lawrence, I was just going to reiterate that paragraph 3 basically says that, but seriously consider, so if we want stronger wording, we can change that.
Yeah.
I have contacted the Sioux First Nation and Slate Falls First Nation. They're aware of this, and they may well be submitting letters of support as well.
Didn't we already get the letter from Sioux? I thought it should.
We did.
Yeah.
I believe it's gone in, yeah. Councillor Timpson.
Is there any value, sorry.
There'd be any value in just sort of expressing the importance of Hudson to Sioux Lookout, and it really is probably for future development there in terms of housing. It may be our only option in the future, and that this kind of development could impede other types of development in Hudson.
yeah, we have to be careful how we word that. On one hand, we're saying we want wilderness to be maintained, and the other hand, we're saying we want to develop it. But they go
But,
hand in hand. The wilderness
yeah.
encourages people to go and live
All
there.
kinds of empty houses in the town itself, and they may be our only places to go for housing in the future.
We can work
Eh.
something in that might will make it less attractive for development, or could make it less attractive for residential development. Anything further, council? So, the exact wording in the letter will reflect the comments here in a general way, but we're going to ask for approval to submit the letter based on this input and modifying the existing letter. Is that fair enough? So, if there are any other comments, Councillor Simpson?
This was a council decision, not just from the mayor and the CAO, but this was a council decision.
We can attach the resolution.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. If there's anything further, then all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Yeah. Didn't we? Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Moved by Councillor Van Breda, seconded by Councillor Lego. All in favor? Carried. I apologize. And council, sorry. All right. Let's get a mover and seconder for that council awards the contract for engineering services to include construction tendering, construction contract administration, and construction site inspection services for the Front Street and 3rd Avenue project to Kuwait and Aska Limited in an amount of $199,720 plus HST, and further that council authorizes the passing of bylaw number 26-23, being a bylaw to authorize and direct the mayor and the clerk to execute an agreement between the corporation of the municipality of Sioux and Kuwait and Aska Limited for construction tendering, construction contract administration, and construction site inspection services for the Front Street and 3rd Avenue infrastructure upgrades project. Moved by. No, we put it on the table for discussion. So we got a mover, moved by Councillor Cassidy, seconded by Councillor Van Breda. Discussion, now it's on the table and we discuss. Councillor Timpson, then Councillor Costco.
Yeah, I just wonder if you could clarify, the number given is 199,000 plus HST, and then the number of project consultants is 160,000. Is that, just wondering what the difference is there?
In the financial summary in the report,
Yes, in the report it's 199,722, and in the financial it's 160.
Through Mayor Lawrence, that was the projected budget for the 2023 budget for that project. That was just 160. That's what was projected, not what was actual.
Okay, so that we're
199 is the
39,000.
actual. Yeah.
Okay. So we're 39,000 short, then where would that come from? I guess that's the question, where it would come from.
CAO.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Lawrence. It will be determined once we actually go out to tender, because we have to evaluate the cost of the contract as well in the total price. I would assume that it would be added to the long-term debt at this point.
Okay.
Councillor Costco.
What is the process that we got to this point where we're getting a quote from Kuwait and Aska? Were there other companies consulted? Did we get 3 quotes and this is the lowest? Like, how did the process work?
Would you like to take that? Sure.
Through you, Mayor Lawrence. Typically, when we go out to tender for engineering and design, we issue a request for proposal for that work. Kuwait and Aska was the original contractor to the original firm that received that contract to do the work, the design for Front and 3rd Street upgrades. In their contract, there was a proviso in there that allowed the municipality to go ahead with them if we saw fit to continue on and do the tendering and project management. In this case, staff are recommending that we do go forward with them because they have extensive knowledge of the roadworks and have done the the detailed design on the project. So it makes sense to sole source at this time because it would likely be more expensive if we were to tender it out and go to another firm.
I could add to that, there's, having once been in the business liability issues, when you're taking, if you're not the design engineer and you come in and you're doing the contract administration inspection services on a project you didn't design, there becomes a real mix of liability that is not good for the owner, for the client, because it muddies the water of liability. When you're responsible for both the design and the implementation through inspection services and contract administration, the liability for any engineering issues is clearly with one company, and there's no sort of, no, it was them, it was you. So there's that. And often you'll call for a contract, a proposal call for the design often includes the contract administration, an estimate of it, but owners can't always predict when you design a project that is going to go to tender right away, so there's adjustments in price later on if it's delayed or whatever. And then once the scope of the project is fully known, then you can really gauge your inspection services. Councillor Lego.
How long was this project delayed for? Because this has been brought up for a while.
It was supposed to be done last year, but due to the flooding, we weren't able to manage it because we had other projects like the Wellington Roundabout going on, and we had to have that one finished. So we decided to defer it for a year.
Councillor Van Breda.
This project will be done this year, right? Hopefully will be completed by the summer's end.
I'm not sure of the timelines. That will be determined in the tender. But yes, our hopes that they will be done before the snow flies.
Okay, good, perfect. Hopefully.
Further questions, Council? Councillor Bone.
The current cast iron piping, pre-1944, 80 years it lasted for. What's the life expectancy on the new type of material we're putting in there?
Through Mayor Lawrence, PVC piping has a very long last. They say around, they predict almost 100 years of PVC piping.
Okay, thank you.
The cast iron, it might be 80 years, but it hasn't lasted 80 years. It's in a state of failure, let's say, initial failure. Would that be right, Matt?
Yeah.
I found it interesting how long it's been there.
Yeah. And also in PVC piping, you have less likely tuberculation buildup and stuff like that. You don't get the slag and stuff built up in the pipes. As a PVC, it doesn't really stick as well. You just get a little bit of sludge and you flush out, and it cleans up a lot easier every year.
Yeah, in Public Works, I've read some things that the projections on the life of PVC piping isn't in yet because it's 100, 120 years. It might be 150. It might be 200 years. But because PVC piping it's been used since the 1950s, I think, was probably first introduced. But
So are there different types or standards of the PVC piping, or is it just pretty well standard for municipalities?
there's many different
There's many different.
types. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
And the Public Works manager will be familiar. That's all, whatever type is specified by the engineer in the design and specifications. Different types for sewer, different types for water, different types for pressure, different thicknesses, different depths of bury. Councillor Costco.
Now, will this project plan be available for the public to see it if they want to somewhere?
Through Mayor Lawrence, we always have copies of all the design drawings, so if anybody ever wants to see them, they can come in and see them.
Okay, because I know that every year we do the trade fair, and it probably would be a great idea to have them there, just so people can see them, just out of curiosity.
Well, the design drawings will be
Very
50, 60
Yeah.
pages of
Yeah.
blueprints and
Yeah.
They're
But they've, like, I know when they built the new school, they had the design plans everywhere in public
a
forums. People
concept
could-
plan, like an overall
Yeah,
summary.
well,
just
they had the actual
area being
plans,
done,
people
yeah.
could go and flip through if they chose to or not. If they don't want to, they don't have to, but if they're there, I mean, people can just out of curiosity, sometimes people have questions, and if they see something visually, then it, sets their mind at ease, or, it's a good thing to do.
Just to update council, we have had some business owners along in that area that have already contacted Jody Brinkman, our manager of development services, because they're looking at doing some work as well. So they want to tie in to the project and want to make sure they know all of where the curbs are going and all that stuff. So we're currently working with them to make sure that they're up to date on what the drawings are and what the plans are.
Any further questions, council? I've had a mover and a seconder. I'm free to call the question. Okay, all in favor? Thank you. Passed, carried. That's it, bylaws? Bylaw number 26-23, being a bylaw to authorize the mayor and the clerk to execute an agreement between the corporation of the municipality of Sioux and Kuwait Naska Limited for construction, tendering, construction contract administration, and construction site inspection services for the Front Street and 3rd Avenue upgrade project. That bylaw number 2623 be read a first, second, and third time and passed. Moved by Councillor Timpson, seconded by Councillor Van Breda. All in favor? Carried. And confirmatory bylaw number 15-23, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the municipality of Sioux April 4th, 2023 special council meeting be read a first, second, and third time and passed. Moved by Councillor Cassidy, seconded by Councillor Lego. All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much.